13.4% of the United States population identifies as Black or African American. That is 46 million people. Of that total, 7.4 million people reported having mental health issues. Let's think about that. 7.4 million African Americans, and that's just those who reported it, have had some form of mental illness. This is more than the populations of Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia combined, and these are pre-pandemic numbers. 90.4% of African Americans use religion to cope with mental health issues. If our mantra here at Christian Cultural Center is Christ in Culture, and one of our core values is faith, then it should be okay for us to talk about mental health and the effect it has on the Black community.
I would actually love to see mental health being embraced as a part of our spiritual growth. Yeah, I really believe that it's not separate. God said to worship him with our mind, with our hearts, with our soul, with everything that we have. But as believers, as a body of believers, we have somehow left that part out as if it is not a part that has to be developed. Developing emotional intelligence, developing mental steadiness, So I really believe that even as a church, as a ministry, as a kingdom, that if we can bring in supporters, bring in therapists, let's have a family talk together.
Mental health is a topic that within our community, it's not talked about enough because a lot of people really don't know that mental health involves your emotional, your psychological, and your social well-being. And so how you respond to various things in life, right? And mental illness is actually the health condition that causes the impact to those factors, such as your psychological health, your emotional health, and your social well-being. So some of us have not been given the tools, the emotional tools, to deal with the stressors of life.
So the question is fairly asked, why talk to Minister Misha about Black mental health? As a white man, I do not consider myself to have authority to speak on Black mental health. I do believe that as a minister of the gospel, that I have the authority to speak on mental health, which has been developed in over 20 years of serving in a Black church context. I think some of the most harmful people that I've encountered in community are the people who feel compelled to tell you that they're happy all the time. Who's just too blessed, who's just sweet and kind and gentle all the time, they're patient, they're kind, they're not selfish, not easily provoked, they've got love, joy, peace, faith, goodness, gentleness, all this. And the thing about those people, respectfully, is that they're lying. There is a person like that, and his name is Jesus. And the rest of us have issues, and that's okay. The rest of us are messy, and that's okay. Church, culture has to be okay, a place where it's okay not to be okay.
God is amazing. The way he structured our bodies, I sit back as one who has to study the brain, and I go, gosh, he was strategic because he created our body to be self-healing. You can have a paper cut on Sunday, and on Tuesday, you forget all about the fact that you had a paper cut. Why? Because your body self-healed. The thing with trauma and severe stress and burnout is that the body knows that there's an intruder, but the brain is trying to figure out, how do we heal, for example, intrusive thoughts? We need someone else to help guide us along the way. And so it's important for us to have a clear understanding as to when we're experiencing something that is healthy stress or something that is harmful stress, knowing the difference, knowing how our body responds to it, and acting accordingly. For those who may say, well, just pray about it. Not even Jesus just prayed. There's work that we have to do, but I want you to really rewire your thinking, because we're doing more harm than good, harming individuals that are experiencing mental health disorders. We're causing harm. And you cannot say, oh, well, you know what? Pray, that's a demon. I'm bold enough to say that I've heard that in ministry. I've heard, pray about it, cast out that demon, and that mental health disorder is going to go. And I've also seen some of those same individuals attend funerals for their loved ones. What was more uncomfortable? The funeral or the realization that your loved one needed help and that you took the time to take your loved one to the psychologist, to the psychiatrist, to the mental health provider so that they can still live? Still live. You know what will change? When clergy are bold enough to say, let's talk about this, because this is real. And it's okay to talk about it. Make it okay to talk about it. But all the weight can't go on them. Family, we have to admit that we do have a problem. We haven't always made it a safe space, dare I say a protective space, in the church, in the body of Christ. And so the person sitting next to you in the pew is experiencing some form of mental illness. Why doesn't that person feel as though there's anyone in that building that will create a protective space for them to be transparent and share with? Is that Christ showing up by not creating protective space? Wherever Jesus went, he created protective space.